Shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Shai. Double honors to my teachers, start with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh Bashim Shai Barakatham to the hopefully elect. And real quick, I'll go through this rather quickly because I'm on the clock. I was watching this guy and he's pretty much going into pretty much because a lot of these guys, like this individual, these economists and whatnot, they pretty much, they go into pretty much the looming, impending collapse in the society and things of that nature. Which all this stuff, a lot of these guys they talk about things that ties into prophecy, right? Like I said, the collapse of the economy and the market crash and things of that nature is good to watch these guys or whatnot. But this particular video, he says some rather interesting things, and just thought I would tie it in with some precepts, man, because with this particular individual, all right, and the link to this video will be in the description. With this particular individual, man, he doesn't really, the thing that I like about him, he doesn't really, he for the most part, he keeps it, he keeps it 100, man. He's straightforward with it, because despite what a lot of these people think, man, and as far as optimism and things getting back to normal in the society, all right, he's one of very few, aside from the prophets, of course, all right, aside from the men of the Lord, he's one of the very few individuals that keep, tell you straightforward, and pretty much he talks about how pretty much, man, and he goes into basically how it's just a matter of time before all hell breaks loose, and like I said, this is one of those videos, and I'm gonna play some of this, play a small portion of this video. I thought it was rather interesting because being that these are the times that we're coming into, right? When the scriptures talk about great sorrow, all right. So I'm gonna play some of this clip out, and I'll back it up with some precepts.
I can promise every one of you watching, you will all sleep better at night. So I want to switch gears a little bit here and share a conversation that I had with a buddy of mine yesterday who's in law enforcement. He's with the Sheriff's Department, a high-ranking member in the Sheriff's Department. And he was just sharing with me some of the things that he's seeing. Increase in suicide, domestic disputes, drug use, suicide by cops, anxiety, etc. And he made a really, really good point. He said that he believes we're seeing...
Never hide your Reese's eggs in a basket. I mean, come on. It's the first place they'll look.
Seeing a lot of this because we have never been in a place like this financially as a nation. People have never been in a place like this. They've never been in this circumstance, and they don't know how to deal with it. So a lot of...
So yeah, because like you said, people are pretty much, and more so these other nations, and more particularly these Edomites, man. Because being that, man, this is pretty much their heaven, man. When you read in Isaiah the 14th chapter, I think it is, where it talks about how, basically talks about how going into Babylon, right? And even more so Esau, right? Because he runs Babylon. I believe it's Isaiah 14th chapter. It talks about Lucifer, and pretty much goes into how Lucifer has fallen from heaven, all right? Pretty much being, again, because as far as Esau, man, they're in their heaven, man. They're in their power structure. They've got it good, man. for the most part, they're living good, man. You know, they're the ones with they live in the nice houses and got the the good careers and so on and so forth, man. They got it all, man. So this is their heaven, and being that they're, and again, because I believe I went over this, because when it talks about how when it talks about the Lucifer that has fallen from heaven, it's not talking about Satan, all right, rising up against the Most High and whatnot. That's a false doctrine, but more so Esau being taken out of his power structure. He's been taken, brought down to a lower state. And that's what's getting ready to happen to them as a nation of people. More so the elites, all right, but Esau and as a nation, they're getting ready to they're already losing their power structure, and they know that, they see this, and like he's saying here, because this is something that they're not used to, all right. What you call white privilege, right? So on and so forth, because again, pretty much everything they've got, man, it's been given to them on a platter, all right. But now they're starting to feel the effects. When you read in Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, the 7th verse, it talks about how the curses that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai put on the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians as a people, all right, would be reversed. He would, slowly but surely reverse the curses put on us, and the nations would start to feel it. And being that Esau, he's the most wicked, all right, they're going to get it the worst, man, all right, and that's already starting to happen, all right, because, like I said, like he's going into, Esau more so, man, they're feeling it. They don't know how to deal with what they're dealing with right now, what they're suffering right now. And so this is why a lot of them are offering themselves, right, so on and so forth. But pretty much the point being that, man, it's only going to get worse from here, man. So I'm going to play some more of this out.
People are just getting depressed, and they're committing suicide. People are turning to drugs, alcohol. They're getting suicidal. And I thought that was a really, really good point, because people have never been here before. They've never had to deal with these kind of financial situations. And as a nation, we've been entitled, and we've had decades without a depression. And as a nation that's been entitled, people now who are under pressure, whose lifestyles are changing, people who've lost a job and now can't find another job, people who can't feed their kids, they don't know what to do, and so they're turning to suicide, they're turning to drugs, and
yeah, because like I said, man, they're offering themselves, and you hear about the opioid crisis and stuff like that, man, which again, mostly Edomites are suffer from that, because they don't know how to deal with this pressure, man. The Lord's turning up the pressure, and they don't know how to deal with it, because like you said, man, these Babylonians, man, these average Americans, man, they're spoiled, man, and when you read here in verse 2nd Esdras 15th chapter, in verse 2nd Esdras 15 and 18, it says, "For because of their pride," all right, because this America is the most prideful nation on this earth, man. A lot of these other nations look down upon America and these Americans, because of their pride, man. America thinks, these Americans, man, you can't tell them nothing. All right, they think that they're this great nation, all right, this mighty and wonderful nation, the greatest kingdom, right? The nation that has always bounced back, and the nation that has never lost a war, all right, so on and so forth, man. And again, because this is another one of those things dealing with this whole pandemic and whatnot. These nations, these Americans, they think that this place is going to bounce back, man. All right, they're living in a false. They're believing in a false hope right now that this place is going to bounce back, and it's not really going to hit until it hits. All right, and like I said, because a lot of these guys, man, like this individual here, man, they pretty much keep it straightforward, man. All right, if things continue to go the way they are going, which they will, all right, you're gonna have because again, a lot of these guys talk about an impending dollar collapse, all right, economy collapse, market crash, all this stuff, man. They get into it, you know. Um, but reading 2nd Edges 15 and 18 again, it says, "For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." All right, because again, the times that we're coming into, man, here it is. They're talking about these um, pretty much, man, this infrastructure plan with Joe Biden, what he's doing. All right, um, and you go into the what do you call it, the damn, what is it called, man? The not that the climate change and things of that nature, man. That's that because I was watching videos earlier, man. Pretty much going into how all this stuff is pretty much, man. It's costing more and more money. All right, which again, one thing is going to lead to another, man, and soon, man. If you're not already, if you're not in the area already where you're seeing it, soon, man. Because all this stuff, this infrastructure plan, all right, with more stimulus money they're talking about, stimulus checks coming, so on and so forth, man. All right, the cost of living is gonna spike, is gonna increase. All right, Joe Biden's tax plan and stuff like that, man. All one thing is gonna lead to another, man. Because best believe with this tax plan, man, that Joe Biden's doing, best believe, man, these businesses, man, they're pretty much they're gonna take it out on the consumers. All right, so because like I said, man, you're gonna have a spike prices and your goods and groceries and things of that nature. Gas is going up. All right, so on and so forth, man. And pretty soon, man, you're gonna pretty soon down the line, man. Like I keep saying, one thing is gonna lead to another. You're gonna have a hyperinflation. All right, because soon, man, and this guy, he gets into it, man. One day you're just gonna wake up, man. It's just gonna be $30 for a loaf of bread. $50 for a gallon of milk, man. This is what's coming down the line, man. And that's why when you read here in verse 15, or excuse me, 2nd Edges 15 to 19, it says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." Yet because, things are going to get, like I said, man, the cost of living is going to increase, man. Price spikes and all type of stuff is going to be going on to where it's going to get to a point where, hey, man, this place is going to become a dog eat dog world out here, man. Because being that these people, they don't put their trust in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, all right, they're not going to know what to do, man. They're not going to know how to handle these situations or whatnot. Because again, because for the most part, man, especially these Edomites, they're not used to stuff like this, man. They're not used to, dealing with what we've been dealing with. Because as far as so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, man, this is pretty much for the most part stuff that we're used to it, man. We've been dealing with it, for as long as we can remember. We've seen our parents struggling, right? Hear about how our grandparents are struggling, so on and so forth, man. So this is stuff that we're used to, One thing about Jake, man, Jake knows how to get by. Jake knows how to manage and survive. But again, as for these simple, average Americans, man, they don't know. They don't know, man. They don't know how to, when it's time to get into survival mode, man, they don't know how to deal with it because everything's been given to them on a silver platter. All right. So best believe, man, soon in the very near future, man, when you start seeing more spikes in prices and stuff like that, man. All right, things are gonna get more and more expensive. All right, and not only are things going to get more expensive, you're gonna things are gonna become more scarce. All right, things are gonna become more unavailable rather than available. All right, like you just had this whole thing with the cargo ship out there in the Gulf of Suez. All right. Because again, the stage is being set for famine. The stage is being set for all these things to take place, man. All right, because best believe, man, that ship that got stuck out there in the Gulf of Suez, man, that's going to cause a major setback to the global, pretty much the global economy, man. In a number of ways, and I'm still, doing my research on that, and plan on getting into that. Lord's will, the Spirit gets on me at some point. All right, because again, one thing is going to lead to another, man. All right, it's going to be like a domino effect, you know. But again, man, nevertheless, all right, I'm going to read verse 19 again. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. All right, basic necessities, like when you read in the Our Father's prayer, all right, and it talks about, not the Our Father's prayer, excuse me, but basically in Matthew's, the 4th chapter, when it talks about how, let me go there real quick. Matthew's, the 4th chapter. All right. Matthew's 4:4, it says, but he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. Is that what I wanted? Because basically, man, just touching on the bread, all right? Because basically, I think it is Matthew's. I think it is the Our Father's prayer. Let me just go through this real quick. Yes, this is what I was looking for. Slakia. So Matthew's, the 9th chapter, or excuse me, Matthew 6 and 9, it says, after this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. All right, now this is the Our Father's prayer. All right, because a lot of times you may not know what to pray for. We may not know how to pray. Well, this is something that Yahweh Shai left for us to, like a basic prayer that we can say daily. All right, because in this prayer, which is what I'm gonna get to the point, all right, in this prayer, all right, it pretty much includes everything. It breaks down everything, all right, everything that we need, so on and so forth. So when you read Matthew 6 and 9, it says, after this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. All right, now, because again, basically, man, our daily essentials, because we ought to be praying, that for what we need just to get by every day, our essentials, the basic stuff that we need to survive every day, man. All right, this is included in Our Father's prayer. All right, because when you go back to this in Second Esdras 15 and 16, it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. So you see, because soon in the near future, man, you're having these daily essentials, man, it's going to become less and less available. All right, it's going to become less, it's going to become more and more unavailable. All right, which is going to cause people to, go about it the ski mask way, if you know what I'm saying. All right, going about robbing one another and things of that nature. All right, because again, this is a landmask of no faith. All right, and being that these people they have no faith in Yahweh Shem Shai, they're not going to know how to really deal with these things. When it comes about. All right, so this is why people now are all depressed and all suicidal and whatnot. All right, because they're not used to this, man. But little do these people know, man, it's only going to get worse from here. All right, so I'm gonna play some more of this video.
And so, I thought that was a really, really good point, and I think it's very true. And this country now is coming into a place it's never been. And people have been entitled, and people have gotten soft. And
so I said this place is coming to a place that has never been, right? Go to Daniel's 12:1. All right, because we're coming into times that have never been since the earth was created. Daniel's 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be
Chapter 4, 1 through 4.
and there shall be a time of trouble, all right, referring to Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 37, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. All right, so again, because this is going to be a time period that has never been since the earth was created. All right, because these people, man, they have no idea what's getting ready to happen to this place. You know, and again, like I read before, because of the pride of the pride of these people, man, they don't think that it can happen. They don't think that things can get worse. This place has always bounced back. This place has never won. America's never lost a war. This is the greatest nation, and all this and that. All right, well, the Lord is getting ready to rain on these people's parades, man, because this place is being set up for the ultimate fall. All right.
Opportunity and wealth doesn't exist like it once did, and this is, turning people's lives upside down. And so I wanted to share that with you, and it's another reminder why we need to be calling our family members, our friends, our members of our churches, and we need to be checking on people, making sure they're okay, if they need anything. Because there's a lot of anxiety out there, a lot of depression, a lot of drug use. People that you think are doing okay aren't. And so just because everything looks good on the...
Yeah, because like I said, people, man, they're the only reason why people haven't really lost their sanity right now, all right, because they still have the false hope that things will get better, all right. But once reality sets in, that's when people are really gonna, that's when it's gonna hit them hard. All right, and people are really going to lose it, man. All right, because America's nothing but a big psych ward. All right, and these patients have been, they're getting ready to lose their minds, man.
Outside doesn't mean it's so good on the inside. So we really need to, be networking with our friends and family members and reaching out, making sure everybody is okay, because we don't want to see. Listen, nothing is worth taking your own life. Nothing is worth getting into drugs. Nothing is worth, assaulting your wife or family member. It's not worth it. Okay.
Well, ultimately, if Yahweh Shemel Shai sends your mind over to those demons, there's really nothing you can do about it.
Okay? We're going to get through this. We are going to get through this. This is why I make these videos. I continue to make these videos to make sure that the people out there who have the ability to prepare and you have the means to prepare, that you're doing so, because you do not want to wind up on the wrong side of this, because we are going to see a lot of desperation in this country, and it's going to be a result of this economy and the financial situations that people have gotten themselves into. Let's talk about this today. The 10-year bond yield at one point.
So that was it on that, man. All right. So real quick. All right. I'm gonna go through Ecclesiastes 12. I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not." All right, and like these guys, they often talk about preparing and prepping, stacking up on food, water, and all this other stuff. Which, though, there's nothing wrong with that to an extent, because ultimately none of that stuff is going to save you. All right. Ultimately, we ought to be preparing ourselves. We ought to be spiritual preppers. All right. You read about that in Ecclesiastes, the second chapter. Basically preparing your minds, because, hey, man, we're coming into those times, man. Some very dark times ahead, man. We're going to be alive to. We're going to live through it. We're not going to be raptured before the trouble. Before Jacob's trouble. We're going to live through it. So that's why we get ourselves ready now. All right. Prepare ourselves now spiritually. All right. While the evil days are not here yet, so to say, because we're not fully in Jacob's trouble yet. Things aren't fully in swing yet, just yet. And that's the mercy of Yahweh Shemel Shai, giving us the opportunity to, get ready, man.
All right. Because, you know, one thing this guy, I was watching another one of his videos, man. He was going into what took place in Texas. All right. You know, because, hey, man, as far as blackouts and you know, winter storms and stuff like that, man, that happens in places like Chicago, Minnesota. You know, he brought it out how, you know, that stuff happens all the time. But places like Texas, that's something that doesn't usually happen like that. They were completely unprepared for that, you know. In Texas, man, I often say it, man, that's a small inkling to what's going to happen to America, man. You know, something's going to happen to where, hey, man, no one is going to be prepared for it, man. You know, except for those of the elect. All right. But it says, nor the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. And the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. All right. I read on, it says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And this is pretty much going into an economy collapse. All right. You know, you know, it talks about the grinders being, you know, ceased. All right. The workforce, you know, you hear about unemployment rates, unemployment, you know, rising, so on and so forth, man. You know, people are going to continue to lose jobs or whatnot. All right, here they're slowly, you know, opening things back up. But on the other hand, they're talking about a, you know, this new variant that's spreading across America, right? You know, because, you know, a fourth. With that being said, you're going to have a fourth lockdown. All right, this place is going back on lockdown. You know, and here it is there, because this is me personally. I personally think with the whole trial, all right, with the George Floyd trial, you know, them resurfacing those you know, old videos or whatnot, replaying those videos, man, you know, trying to refuel that fire that's in people, you know, pretty much wound old scars or whatnot, you know. Just seeing how this trial goes, man, that might spark some, you know, all new shit, man, and you know that can cause a whole other thing, man, which, you know, they can use that to, you know, blame for you know, a surge in cases, you know, so on and so forth, man. It's just a, you know, a matter of waiting to see how things play out. But nevertheless, man, another lockdown is coming. All right, this place is going back on shutdown. More people are going to lose jobs. All right. What I just read here, all right, the impending economy collapse, man, because when you go to Ezekiel, the 7th chapter, all right, Ezekiel 7, and Ezekiel 7 and 15, it says, the sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. So you see, because all hell is going to be breaking loose from all sides, man. You're going to have the sword, like I mentioned before, civil unrest. All right, you know, like I keep mentioning, you know, pay attention to these, to this George Floyd trial. All right, that can lead to, you know, all you know, type of civil unrest and stuff like that. You just had an attack on the another attack on the Capitol. All right, well, a police officer, I think, got killed. All right, you know, because pretty much the stage is being set, man. All right, you know, you're gonna have famine, pestilences, all type of disease outbreaks. You know, Ebola has reemerged. All type of stuff going to be going on, man. All right, it says, but they that escape of them shall escape and shall be on the mountains, like doves of the valleys of all them mourning, everyone for his iniquity. All hands shall be feeble, and all knees shall be weak as water. All right, and again, you know, because people, man, they don't know how to deal with this, with what's going on right now, you know, as far as the, you know, losing jobs and whatnot, man, because they're not used to it. They're not used to dealing with that pressure, man. You know, so this is why, you know, hey, man, people, they're like the scripture say, man, men are going to become as women, you know, in travail, you know, because that's how bad it's going to get, man. Reading in verse 18, it says, they shall also gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror shall cover them, and shame shall be upon all faces, and baldness upon all their heads, man. Because nothing is in store for this place but lamentation. All right, mourning. All right, verse 19 is the point. It says, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahweh. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because of it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. So you see, their silver and their gold being cast in the streets, man, because soon, all right, again, you know, you're going to have there's an impending dollar collapse, man. Like the examples what I used before with Joe Biden's tax plan, and, you know, I think it was a $2.9 million infrastructure plan. You know, more stimulus checks and all these other things is going to lead to one thing is going to lead to another. All right, you're going to see a spike in groceries and goods and benefits and things of that nature, man. All right, which is going to lead people to, you know, robbing one another, killing one another. All right, so on and so forth, man. All right, because soon, man, as I've said before, America is going to become a Venezuela 2.0, man. Soon, money is going to be worth nothing. All right. You know, and things are going to get hella expensive, and it's just going to be crazy out here, man. You know, and this is why, man, hey, man, more now more than ever. Now, every time I say this, every time I make this statement, it applies more, you know, when I say it than I did before. But now more than ever, man, we ought to be praying, all right, like I mentioned before, spiritually prepping for these things, man, because, hey, man, it's going to get bad, man. And like I said, man, we're going to live through it. There's not going to be no rapture, all right, before the tribulation, all right, so we're going to live through it. So this is why, hey, man, now more than ever, we ought to be praying to Yahweh Shem Shai that he, you know, protects us in these times that we're coming into, man. Because, again, the stage is being set, all right? The plagues are being sent out, and they're not being sent back whatsoever. You know, all hell is getting ready to break loose, man, and that's just all that she wrote. You know, so, you know, just wanted to get some, you know, there was some edification, you know, in you know, this guy's video. Hopefully this was edifying. You know, once again, I'm going to give all credit to Yahweh Shem Shai. Double honors to my teachers, start with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And until next time, Lord's will, I say shalom.